Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another live stream of Shadowverse. Today is Wednesday, September 23rd, and we are on my new computer. So I want to just make sure that everything is streaming before we hop in here. See if we can just make sure that that's the case. And then notifications will go out. Um, so with the new computer, things may look a little bit different. Things may be a little bit bigger when we do the web peak. In particular, that is a thought because I've changed things, and I might go back and fix that so there's a little bit more that fits on the screen, or I might just leave everything alone because things being bigger helps me read it off my small TV that's 10 feet away. Even my big TV that's 10 feet away often is hard to read. I have been playing Lego Marvel Avengers, which has had exactly 0 micro stuttering, although it did have some problems. Particularly, there we go, we got notification that we're live streaming. It had some problems in that I moved all the internal files for OBS over, but I didn't move the shortcut. And the shortcut had a property to run OBS as an administrator, and without it running as an administrator, it was just not able, even with an RTX 2080 video card capable of actually rendering without dropping frames. I was dropping like 10% of the frames almost. And it was causing very bad footage, so the first couple of Lego episodes will have bad footage, even though I didn't see any problem when I was actually playing. But I got that fixed, and my computer is built, and I don't think there's anything that really needs to be fixed there. A couple of things I could certainly mention, in that if you have a PCI Express adapter board for a second or third NVMe memory stick, you probably want to put that somewhere where there's a cooler on it, or at least a heatsink, because they do seem to warm up. Also, the adapter board probably will have the NVMe hanging upside down, so it'll be heating up in an awkward way without a cooler fan or a heatsink. Probably not a big deal. I found out what was wrong. I don't know why we have a guild thing and a crate here. Let's see. Let's see what the guild thing is. I probably got kicked out of my guild. Oh. And I think we are hearing Marvel. Yes, we are. Okay. So, wrong music playing there, because I still have Lego Marvel going. So we can get back into playing Marvel games. This might just be because I installed this on the new computer. Like here we can see nobody has done anything on this guild at all. So did I get a new crate thing too because I did this? I'll take 3 Sears globes for sure. That is a high prize, but I don't know if that is a reward for something I did, or if that's just a reward that randomly was happen. And we definitely haven't been playing, so we're still kind of in the exact same position. And I think we will kind of always be in that same position. 1 match force craft. I almost certainly missed one of these arena runs also, so as apologies. Well, I don't even know why I'm apologizing, but it's definitely been a case where more and more Shadowverse will be less of a focus. I did have a brief thought there about live streaming every single day. Yeah, that's just not gonna happen. No, it's not realistic. I would never be able to play any other pre-recorded footage or any other game. It would just be abandoning my channel to do live streams every day to chase after subscribers, which I'm about at 400 subscribers. Although who knows what YouTube's gonna do next. I got an interesting notification that they are going to actually start using credit cards to verify people's ages, or at least some accounts' ages, which means that they're going to very quickly find out that the vast majority of accounts either are not going to verify their age or are actually kids, which YouTube has been actively trying to pretend like that it wasn't a kids platform while still heavily benefiting from free views from kid viewers. But certainly I could see this knocking a lot of people into different categories or losing a lot of subscribers, because I bet kids, the way YouTube is going to do it, I bet any kids account is not allowed to subscribe to channels, and or their subscription's not going to count towards the YouTube partner program. So I wouldn't be surprised if all kinds of weirdness happens around that idea. I suppose that's all we need to talk about as far as the accountability section though. I worked on my computer's mostly set up. I need to get videos to upload. Let's see. Let's go ahead and end that. There is a program called DSIM that you probably would never have to use, but it is what I had to do to install boot start drivers, is what they're called for Windows, so that the cloned copy of my old Windows install on my old computer would boot when plugged into the secondary hard drive controller, the SATA controller. So that was the solution there. It feels like the NTP servers for like time.windows.com also was down a lot of the time yesterday. It's still incredibly hard to turn off the LED on an RTX 2080, which is ridiculous. Like, there's not actually an NVIDIA product, from what I can find, that turns it off. You have to install an EVGA product and hope that that works. At least that's as far as I've gotten it. I'm gonna have to go and mark some of the I marked some of the hard drives in my old computer that I installed to make it a server as ejectable, and that oddly means that they're part of the safely eject hardware pop-up on Windows, which is ridiculous. And the most recent version of Windows incorrectly says the speed of your RAM is about half, but not exactly half of what it is. This is probably in part due to a miscalculation on Windows' fault for DDR being in dual channel mode, but it is certainly a frustration that I ran into. But overall, a fresh Windows install seems to have done me a decent amount of good, and at least the fact that that there was a definite problem of the Lego games micro stuttering on my old computer. And I guess maybe if I had ever bothered to install new Windows, just a whole new Windows install, maybe that would have fixed the micro stuttering. I don't know, but that was not a realistic solution. I guess it is even less a realistic solution to tell people to build a whole new computer to fix micro stuttering on Lego games. But That is what worked for me. Building an AMD computer instead of an Intel computer seemed to fix the micro stuttering. Now, my biggest fear, certainly on this, is that I'll get through a couple of Lego games and then the micro stuttering will start happening again, and it will just get worse and worse and worse, and that there is some kind of shared textures or code in Lego games that writes something to the registry or does something weird, and it starts getting bad, or there's like some Windows update that happens and that causes the problem. Just doing a new Windows install though still was a bit of a hassle. It's definitely not a easy process as easy a process. Yeah, I left these animations on. I'm gonna turn those off. I thought about leaving those on, but no, I don't feel like that at all. And we're gonna have to turn the voices up. Go ahead and play the sound in the background, because that'll be an issue too. Display leader animations. Return to battle. Like, I just had to set all the settings back to the way they were. I can't help but feel like, though, as I wrap up the catch-up section here, I can't help but feel like I could have probably gone a year or two with my old computer. I could have gone a long time. Like, this really is a preemptive, let's build a new computer before something else in the old computer breaks. The power supply had already broken, and that led me to prematurely buy a video card, which probably, all things being known now, if a lot of different things could have happened. Although right now the 3000 series of NVIDIA video cards are pretty much impossible to get, so I would have to have waited quite a while. It would have probably saved me a couple $100 though to buy the RTX 2080 after the 3000 had been announced. But yeah, the biggest change is the new case, and the new case is great, but I am gonna have to get like a wrap around it just to put a handle on the thing, because it's just so heavy. And yeah, I would also say I am just such a wimp at this point. I'm so weak I can't lift 50 pounds consistently, which is the exact amount that they require everybody to be able to lift in almost any job that requires any actual lifting, and half the jobs that don't require lifting. Right.
Ready to witness my true strength? Let's do this together, Mr.
Right. Yeah, in the turn here. As for Lego Marvel Avengers, it feels like it was the game after Lego Marvel Superheroes, done by the B team, and the Avengers movie is so intertwined with the story of the game that, having not really seen the Avengers movie, I've seen just bits and pieces and found it kind of boring. I don't know what's going on. It has been downright awful as far as telling the player what to do. There's really no ghost studs pointing you in directions when you're in the movie levels, in the story mode levels, and so I often now, in like 4 levels that I've been able to play, which are inconsistent in length a little bit too, In four or five levels that I've played, I've been stuck 3 times not knowing what to do. One of which was a actual glitch where either I didn't realize I had a double jump or the double jump was just not working, and so I turned on vertical sync. But then even after turning on vertical sync, there was another level where I needed to be able to double jump, and the double jump still didn't feel like it was running correctly. Maximum 10. Alright.
Revel in the dragon's power.
And then do this, and then do this. And then attack here. Now if he can't kill this fairly well, this guy's gonna do 5 damage next turn. So fingers crossed on the Lego Marvel game. It does have a whole Manhattan level. It's the same Manhattan level as Lego Marvel Heroes does. So I imagine I'll be able to run around and do a bunch of little mini puzzles. And hopefully I'll have fun with that and kind of just forget the story mode. I feel like that was kind of the case in Lego Marvel Heroes also, is that I really couldn't tell you what the story was. I believe it was Galactus and the Fantastic Four and the Silver Surfer were all big factors in Lego Marvel Heroes, and yeah, none of those characters are anything that were in the cinematic universe. So So yeah, I guess there's a decent chance that I'll be able to find more fun and more entertainment. It's probably been a week since I've gotten the Dragoncraft missions, so it took me a week to get 4 Dragoncraft missions. Now we just need another Dragoncraft win and a Forestcraft, and that'll reset us all. But we'll have to keep on playing with Dragoncraft, and ideally we'd want 5 wins. I still need to upload videos. I still need to try to do something with my insomnia and get the videos to upload while I'm asleep, and that's where the script is really going to come into play. Is there anything else to really talk about, though, as far as the Lego game? No, not really. I only have 4 or 5 Lego games that I haven't played that I've purchased. So after that level, I am like, I would just be out of them. And there's kind of only a couple more, and I have no interest whatsoever of going back and playing the old ones a second time, even though they were so glitchy, because Lego games do have this major problem of being either fairly good or really bad, and I think the Lego Star Wars games are kind of now about the only ones that I would even want to start to think about playing again, and they're going to remake those. TT Games, as far as making the Lego games, has run out of things that they can even do. They need to I was thinking about, like, they could do Sherlock Holmes type games, they could try to do Shakespearean type games and more open source based stories, but unless they go more mature and do like Twilight or Maze Runner stories, there's kind of nothing else to do. They're probably looking at the collabs Lego is doing right now. There probably is a chance that you would have a Disney Mickey Mouse Lego game that gets made in the next 5 to 10 years, and a Nintendo Lego game, but the Nintendo Lego game also probably would never come to PC. And it might be interesting to see if there was a company that was trustworthy, like THQ, if they tried to make a different kind of building block Lego style game as competition, but I don't think anybody would do that. Because they are kid focused games, they will always be low effort and cheaply made. Okay, well, let's see. The thing we talked about, the big news Monday was that Microsoft bought Bethesda. There was a nice little comparison that the purchase of the Bethesda's parent company ZeniMax for $7.5 billion was more than what Marvel was purchased for by Disney, and I think probably more than what even Lucasfilms was purchased for by Disney. Although, if you do look at that comparison, there is a deeper there is a deeper question certainly there, that is Disney losing a lot of money right now because of the pandemic, or they lost a lot of money because of overspending on underperforming licenses such as Star Wars.
A frozen mind, a frozen body. There's a lot more
See.
where that came from.
Should look at what this character
Once
does
frost
before
sets
we
in, you're
decide to
dead.
attack him, but
Snowstorm.
If I fall, the people will be lost. But I will not. If I fall, the people
we
will
go.
be lost.
so yeah. Microsoft has said, or Satya Nadella, as the CEO of Microsoft, I believe is who Satya is, has said that they will consider purchasing more companies, so I don't think they're anywhere close to being done. There is a certain point here that I think could be made, and I think I will go with this, in that I'm going to start muting some of the computer places. Like, sure, some of the computer people I follow on Twitter do occasionally give away like computers, but the temptation and the comparison is too high there. After building a new computer is the perfect time to say, I'm gonna like disconnect and detox from any nerdy IT stuff. Particularly, I think, in my case, because a lot of the Raspberry Pi projects and stuff I do it really is just because it's fun to build the things, and then I really don't have enough use for them. Ideally, at one time in my life, I wanted to work at a computer store, a computer shop type place where I would be building computers non-stop. It just doesn't work that way though, and most computer shops barely make any money, and they're little more than loan sharks in a lot of cases. And what you run into is a lot of people that don't know how their computers they don't know how much computers are worth, and they just want you to fix their Dell. And that's what Best Buy fell into a lot too, is that you had entire stores where people can try and upsell you to buy a new computer, but instead they really want your the customers just want their 20-year-old computer fixed. Alright, that's 2 victories, 1 undeserved. So, yeah. Metal Gear Solid 2, Substance, and Konami Collector's Series Castlevania and Contra have been rated for PC in Taiwan, which does potentially open up a door frame, although I don't know if those Konami games would be Epic Store exclusives, or if they'd show up on Steam or some other platform, or if these are just kind of fake listings. We know that the most recent Metal Gear 5, is on Steam, so I wouldn't be surprised if Konami's just trying to get money and putting the rest in some low effort emulated form on Steam, although Metal Gear Solid, and Metal Gear Solid 2 Substance, I think, are fairly old games. So are Castlevania 1 and Contra, so I think there would be a bit of a misunderstanding there if you're expecting to get any of them modern games. Suppose there's no reason to stretch this out. One of the things that didn't move over when I installed it, well, most of my extensions did on Chrome, the custom stuff that I've done to make things look better haven't. But I can come over here and right click and block elements and click create, and then I can simply use that as a way to customize these web pages more, although it's probably not super useful to block just everything here. But you can also probably see that there is a decent amount of difference in the way things look, and I'm still going to have to specifically work on making this all look better. Nope. Let's see, that's the thing I can't do. There's all these little breaks, and I'll probably need to undo all of that. There you go. Alright, finally they played, so I can play. So there might be some tweaking here and there, some ad blocking and just element blocking. It's not even so much ad blocking, since I have a default ad blockers too. It's much more often just what can I do to turn a Steam web page into something that's a little bit easier to view, and what resolution is the right resolution to show things at. And yeah, a lot of these pages also change when you zoom in and zoom out because they have like adaptive redesigning, so that's a factor too. I don't think I generally block anything on Steam, or I was blocking anything on Steam, so all that work I just did is actually probably not worth it, and not something I should have done. Yeah, because yeah, this is what it would have just looked like otherwise. So we have a game here called Explorer's Vermis Story, which looks like a Metroidvania game. It's early access for $13.49, and yeah, it looks interesting enough to at least deserve a follow. So we'll put it on the follow list, and then we'll come over here and we'll attack, and we'll end the turn. Yeah, there's really no reason to stretch out these streams. We started early today, and I think that is also a new policy is that we may start trying to stream around 7 or 8 in the morning, depending on your time zone. It's probably too early, but I'm running into the scenario where there is a lot of times where it's about 10 o'clock and I'm already too sleepy. Generally, I'm gonna try and sleep the day away and record in the middle of the night if I can get away with that, but with insomnia, you never know. It just changes like crazy. It is incredibly inconsistent. Moving on, we have a game on here called Mina and Michi, which seems to be two characters that you control at once in one player mode, or two characters you control separately to push boxes and solve simplistic little puzzles. It doesn't look terrible for $3.99. It is single player or shared split screen co-op. It's English and Portuguese Brazil. I'm willing to put this on the follow list, but I think fairly quickly you would probably look at this and realize that there is just not enough game here for what it is. But I'm willing to wait until I see some reviews to make that decision. Okay, this one would put a card in my hand. Okay. This will literally banish no cards in my hand, because all the cards in my hand are 0. So there's no reason not to play that in this scenario. Gamma Sutra has an article here. Microsoft wants to replenish more water than it consumes by 2030. Okay. Good for it. I don't know if there's anything else to really say there. And, you know, this is a kind of a great example where I could keep the text the same for the important parts here, or I could zoom this down from 150 down to 100, and then the text would take a little bit less time. 100's maybe a little too much. Maybe we get to like 125. That might be fine there for those web pages. Unfortunately, I don't think the zoom for specific websites are customly built in. So, yeah, I'm pretty much gonna have to find a consistent zoom for everything. One of the things I'm doing with the new setup is I'm having the dots per inch zoom on my bigger monitor at about 150%, but I'm having it 175%. I'm having my smaller monitor at 175% as a way of being able to read things easier. Next we have the Open Critic. Let's go ahead and block this element. And then block this element. There we go. So, yeah, the scroll bar here, usually I try to hide the scroll bars. It's probably being shown. Anyways, TechRaptor has an article here. Open Critic user reviews lets players chime in. Moderated audience reviews are here. Open Critic has been hard at work building a new gaming review aggregator over the last few years. Now Open Critic user reviews have finally gone live with audience reviews, but it won't be as easy to write one as it is elsewhere. If you're unfamiliar with Open Critic, or the website acts somewhat similar to Metacritic, it aggregates review scores from multiple sources for modern games, letting you get an idea of the larger picture and how the professional critic community views a particular work. I don't know why I'm reading this whole sentence out and paragraph out verbatim. Let's stop that and let's skim a little bit. Let's see. It says OpenCritic has been more open to professional critics than Metacritic. Of course, the definition of professional is not a great definition, because it just means somebody at least once got paid to do something. Then it was your profession. Many sites that are not listed on Metacritic are aggregated on that service, including TechRaptor. And we kind of know, in a sense, that Metacritic is a little bit hostile to anybody other than the elite mainstream video game journalists getting a say. So that's kind of why OpenCritic exists, and that's why anything that starts with the word open tends to exist. 7 damage. This would do 8 damage. There we go.
It's impossible to change fate, and yet there's a lot more where that came from.
Here we go. Maybe we can turn this around and get a third win. Okay, so how do these OpenCritic user reviews work? First of all, now is like the worst time whatsoever to let anybody waste their life away writing written reviews. Nobody wants to read written reviews. Let's just be honest there. Like, nobody has wanted to read written reviews since the formation of podcasts and Netflix. Like, so don't waste your life on this. You would be much better starting a YouTube channel. Even if you're never even going to get 100 subscribers, you'll get even less like followership putting reviews on OpenCritic. Now, I guess maybe if you had a website, there might be something to that, but I don't think so. So the reviews they must be 30 words minimum, which that does seem like a fair enough that does seem like a fair enough response. There's really no reason why a review should be shorter than 30 words. They must have generally correct English spelling and grammar, which I guess boils down to no foreigners. They cannot be posted until 72 hours after the game is launched, which, alright, that is different than all of the people who would have had embargoed early access reviews of the game, but it also kind of balances it around the idea that you have to at least spend 72 hours stewing about the fact that the game won't launch on launch day before you put a review. And the reviews must be about the game they're reviewing, which means trying to link back to your own website or put in any kind of advertisement for anything else, or having even a sponsor in your review, which would be an interesting attempt to say, hey, this review is sponsored by audible.com, click here to support me, is probably not going to be allowed. And then once it's reviewed, it will be checked by a moderator, which I think inherently means that there will be some moderators that will have some journalistic control over which reviews are allowed and which reviews are not, probably to the point where I wouldn't be surprised if you come out with a very spicy hot take on a review of a game. I wouldn't be surprised if they do just completely block it, and it certainly that would be part of the question. There is who, like, who's gonna watch the Watchmen in that scenario, and who's gonna make sure that there is no like censorship going on when you have a game like The Last of Us 2. One to all of the followers. Play this. Dragon. Just put a dragon on the field. Can't be attacked. So yeah, I think there is a lot of room there for abuse that people will have to be more careful about and be fairly specific about what they would and wouldn't like on Tech Open Critic. Almost said Tech Raptor. Let's see, I'm still just trying to get Tech Raptor to look the way I think it should look without so much garbage in it. Alright, well, let's continue just burning through the news. There was an RPG Maker game called Mad Father that was a Japanese horror game. Apparently it's getting remade.
You don't stand a chance.
I'll just mention that since I saw that article.
This is real storm weather.
I don't think Microsoft was willing to say that Starlink was going to come to the PlayStations, since Starlink probably has no contracts or agreements to be on anything. This would be 7 damage to an enemy follower. If I did
Winds
that.
of Sepharvaim, son of Samari.
How could you abandon me?
And then this.
Rescuing people's a hobby of mine.
Okay. Now, do I want to evolve? And who do I want to evolve? It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what I do. I should just concede I'm gonna lose. Next, we have a game on Steam that's come out called Soldat, which looks like it's a kind of high-speed platforming shooter game. It doesn't quite look polished enough, though. Like, it's kind of a shame because visually it's lacking in polish, but in motion it looks like there might actually have been something there. Early access for $13.49, third-party account required. That's way too expensive, though. Way too expensive. Kind of wish these tournaments only had 4 challenges. And zoom out a little bit more. Next, we have a game on Steam here called Shark Castle, which seems like almost a stealth puzzle game where you're playing as a shark. in
Bow
knight
before
armor.
Dark Dragoon,
Well,
ruler
if any
of
of
the
these
skies.
screenshots would load.
Don't underestimate me.
This is $6.99 and English and French. This is a hard one to decide whether or not there's an actual game here or not. I guess I'll put it on the follow list and we'll just see. I think being fairly generous today. OpenCritic has an article here. Xbox is getting a new screenshot and video sharing app this fall. Okay. That's another thing I turned off was the Xbox game bar, game mode on Windows 10. I don't think that needs to ever be on, frankly, but it by default is on, and then Steam overlays are on, and in-game overlays are on, and like Steam notifications are on by default. It's just a lot of things that are giving me notifications. A lot of advertisements for Windows features that, hey, turn on this thing that can track you, turn on this thing that can track you, turn on this thing that can track you, turn on Cortana. That's fairly annoying. This is more of a board game news, but Hero Quest is back. I owned Hero Quest. I don't know why I got it, and played it exactly once with one other person for what felt like 6 hours minimum. And while I did kind of like the general idea of Hero Quest in that you built your own little levels and it was tile based and there was little figurines that were plastic, it was kind of like the poor man's entry level to something like Warhammer, and I believe Hero Quest was before Warhammer, but it is a Dungeons and Dragons type board game, and it has some problems. And this is the new art, but it looks very, very similar to the old art. They've put on a little bit more cloth on the barbarian, and there's definitely a question about the barbarian who was so front and center on the box art of Hero Quest. Will the barbarian really be a class and a character that really matters? Here we have a elf mage character in the back that wasn't there originally. I'm not sure that this short dwarf here was a character. I'm fairly certain this was. So if we come over to here and then click here, yeah, I think we can do this. And get it down to that point, I guess. There was some thought that perhaps Hero Quest was going to go digital, and that there would have been something you could do there. I did find once an Android game that took the general idea of Hero Quest and very well took a lot of the scenarios from Hero Quest and just kind of, and you'd play them, and they were fine. I liked them, but they were probably not entertaining enough to actually play. So here is the old art. You can see the barbarian had just a loincloth, a silver sword. There is a dwarf, but he's further in the back. There are just goblins and trolls everywhere else. There is the wizard, and you have a kind of lich, and then you have a black knight. So look at the new art, and they've basically changed nothing on the right side of the character, although they zoomed in some more. They've put on more armor. They've given him a much bigger sword now. they've added this elf character in the back, and they moved the dwarfs around. And this really may just have been the new art for a re-release of Hero Quest.
Status and wisdom. Pointless.
The thing I would say
You are nothing.
particularly is Hero Quest is one of those kinds of games that is a very early game that could use a lot of improvement. In the same way that the original version of Monopoly is not the version of Monopoly you would really want to play, and could certainly you could certainly play better versions of Monopoly. Yeah, this new art may very well be from a sequel, The Lich Lord, Return of the Lich Lord, or Keller's Keep. There was a countdown to reveal the video showing off a new design. New cover is a redo of the original. Okay, but then what is... You're just pre-ordering the game from Hasbro. Apparently, that's seemingly all that you're doing, and Hasbro once again just having major monopoly over all toys and board games completely. So yeah, let's see. I don't even know why Hasbro's involved. Allied follower 3 damage. So do 1 here and 3 here.
You're gonna pay for this.
And then
There's a
do
lot more where
this.
that came from. He won't let you harm Mr. Dragon.
Do that. Play this and that. And then let's see. Well, guess we can do this. So do that.
I'm not cut out to be a mermaid.
Then do this. Then I have to decide which one do I want to kill. Let's get rid of that one. Then I'm gonna try. So yeah, it's like a Kickstarter thing. It says back us on Hasbro Pulse. So let's see generally what it's offering. I don't get oversold by this art in this advertisement because that doesn't really mean anything. And even these figurines that are being shown probably will be a lot lower quality than you think, and you probably won't get a statuette. A lot of the elements in Hero Quest were just little cards. Alright, so you get 6 statuettes and then a collection of figurines. Yeah, this is very much similar to what the original Hero Quest offered you. A lot of plastic vinyl type things, and then a lot of doors and adjustments. It really doesn't look like they're offering anything new at all. This looks exactly like what you would have gotten before. Which that's really not what you would want to see happen with Hero Quest, frankly. Perhaps copies of Hero Quest have gotten too expensive on the collector's market and they wanted to cash in, and so they're going to just reprint it, but honestly there needed to be a lot more love and care put into it and a lot more of an update. And I don't believe for a second that if people supported it on Hasbro Pulse, this probably is nothing more than an effort to maintain the copyright. I wouldn't be surprised if they would never make any kind of sequel or any kind of thing that would make you even begin to think that you are going to see any new content or any kind of expansion there. And I imagine the smart people have already moved on to something like Warhammer, and I don't think Warhammer has to be as complicated as it feels like it could be. So you probably could do fine to just jump directly into Warhammer and have spend a lot more money potentially in the long run, but have a much more living, breathing experience with people that actually play it, where you're going to have to find 4 other nerds, very old nerds, to play Hero Quest with. You're not going to get new people in there. And in the current pandemic times, I don't know how you're going to get any like group of people to come on a weekly basis and play Hero Quest with you. That's pretty insane. And it would be so easy to use something like Tabletop Simulator and just replicate the elements of Hero Quest. I feel like I'm going in circles on that story. Next story, Gematsu has a article here. No Man's Sky Origins update is now available. It's deeper planetary diversity, new terrain, new creatures, new weather conditions, colossal buildings, and more. I still don't think, even at this point though, it is worth it to play No Man's Sky. And that game, unfortunately, just lost any chance of success because of its terrible launch. And it is most notable because of its terrible launch, and really only notable because of its terrible launch. That's overpromising. I would not be upset if we saw something like Starlink try to do something similar to No Man's Sky, with a universe with very diverse and different planets, and diverse different animals, but there needs to be an actual goal and storyline to it, and there needs to be a reason to play for that that goal and storyline, which at the moment I don't think there is. That was the whole point of a Dragonborn, and the whole Dragonborn elements in Skyrim, is that it gave you this basic story plot that you could always follow, that you would eventually finish and would want to finish, where No Man's Sky kinda didn't, and it just kind of resets you anyways
Let me share
once
my
you
wisdom.
finish the main story. Also, I'd say No Man's Sky probably has too many survival elements for its own good still. You kind of get into the point of something like the Minecraft scenario, where there's just a lot of potential way you could potentially play Minecraft all the way to defeating the dragon over and over again if you wanted to, but that's not where the fun lies. Moving on, we have a Gematsu article here. Fallen Legion Revenants launches February 16th, 2021 in North America, February 19th. That's quite a ways away. And this is a NIS America game, T for teen, and I'm gonna have to zoom out some. Looks like it's a turn-based Darkest Dungeon style game. Okay. Do I want to play this? Or do I want to play that? Let's play this. Do this. Get rid of that. And then do this. And get rid of that. I kind of feel slightly energetic, so sadly, if I don't sound it, this is about as energetic as I get. TechRaptor has an article here. French consumer group targets Nintendo over Joy-Con drift. Alright. This is a great example. Even though I have my uBlock Origin disabled, there's still 2 other ad blockers that are just blocking direct ads, third-party ads, from showing up on the page. So yeah, Nintendo already pretty much settled with some people, so I imagine they will kind of quickly settle with other people too in other countries to try and get away from try their best to get away from any more lawsuits. uBlock Origin is nice, but it doesn't work as efficiently as you might want it to, in the sense that you can spend a lot of time trying to get things right. Okay. Let's go ahead and toss one of these for 2. Let's see. Gamatsu has an article here. Smelter Tokyo Game Show 2020 online trailer and PC demo are now available. I don't know what Smelter is. Looks like it's some kind of RPG flying around game. Let's see. It's called an X Plus, or the developer's X Plus. It seems like it's kind of a combination of a Metroidvania game and an overworld sim management game, which that's an interesting combination of things. And the story looks like it might be unique. Let's see, we can destroy that, but that won't save us. We can discard that, but it won't save us. I'm starting to get a little sleepy, but I'm not yawning yet, so at least that's something. Bright Memory, that game that allegedly is made by like one Chinese guy, although I suspect there's a chance that that is more puffery than anything else, I guess might be the right word. That happens a lot. You have small teams that then get boiled down to one person doing everything for advertising sake. But this is going to be, I think Bright Memory is the game I'm thinking about. It's going to be joining the Xbox Series X/S launch lineup. Which, yeah, I guess we are still working there. Now, is it Bright Memory Infinite, or is it Bright Memory? Because those might be different games slightly too. Well, it says Bright Memory. which I think Bright Memory Infinite is the longer game that they're still working on and promising. Let's go ahead and trade that one out too. This is the last game of the arena, but we really don't have to do much of anything else. I thought new cards had come out, but it seems like they haven't. So, okay. And it seems like a season ended even though the month didn't end. Which maybe they're just always going to end seasons on like the 20th day of the month. That way there's no inconsistency there. Moving on, Komatsu has an article. Falcon Age is coming to a Switch and Steam on October 8th. Falcon Age is not a game I recognize. Let's see. We saw a game where you could rub a falcon and get the dust off of it, but I don't think it was that one. It was this game. Unless they've drastically changed the art from the last trailer I saw. Yeah. This definitely looks like a different game. And it seems fairly inconsistent in the way it's animated also.
A frozen mind, a frozen body.
But yeah, Falcon Age, probably intentionally designed to be mispronounced as Falconage. Let's see if I can block an element inside of YouTube. No. That was... Yep. I'll have to work back to potentially blocking YouTube things. See, that is way too small. See, the problem is videos just aren't going to work if there's other things around. I can make a little bit more space that way, because the Windows can't scale up videos like they can text or still images.
Snowstorm.
Which this has inherently always been the problem with. I could have played some more cards, I think. Maybe. No, actually. Yeah, I could have played that. Yeah, that has been a consistent problem with Windows. It's just that it can't adjust the resolution correctly.
To serene dreams.
Tech Raptor has an article here. Remothered Broken Porcelains is launching a week earlier, possibly to get away from some kind of competition, would be my guess. That would be my only assumption there, is that they are actively trying to get away from something. Let's see, let's come over here and play. I'm doing a lot of little adjustments and things still.
The dragon is a state of mind.
Snowstorm.
Might be that the element picker is different than the right click options. Doesn't seem like it. Alright, well, next story. Some veterans that worked at Blizzard, I believe Mike Morihime, have created a new company called Dreamhaven, which is to say that people who worked at Blizzard, moved on to a new company. We knew that. We knew that there was a talent drain at Blizzard, and has been for a while. And Activision Blizzard is not gonna do anything about it until they finally go out of business or get acquired. I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft acquires Activision Blizzard. That would be actually a very good company to purchase, frankly, because then they would have all of the like PC titles of Warcraft, Starcraft, things like that, World of Warcraft, and whatever games are actually worth mentioning from Activision themselves, which I'm off the top of my head not really capable of naming anything. I know Activision seems to have a fairly eclectic combination of... Oh, I don't want to do that. I want to instead play a card. There. And let's get rid of one of these. I think that's about as far as I can go.
There's a lot more where that came from. Once frost sets in, you're dead.
So like Dreamhaven has two, I guess, studios under them as a corporation, so they're already starting big, with Moonshot Games and Secret Door, which one assumes Moonshot Games are going to be AAA efforts and experiment at large expense, where Secret Door are probably going to be smaller, opposite of AAA games. Let's see. Moonshot is being led by Jason Chase, which was the previous executive producer at Blizzard. And Moonshot might also indicate a sci-fi bent, and an attempt to make something that would be like a spiritual successor to something like StarCraft 2, which, yeah, we'll see how far that works and how far that goes, if that's really where they're gonna go. Secret Door will be led by these three people. He was Sig Gaddy's role included executive producer of Hearthstone, StarCraft 2, Heroes of the Storm. You can see how, as an executive producer, he went all over the place. Although it is worth mentioning that Ben Brode and Second Dinner had already split off from Blizzard, and he has a big contract that has been announced with Marvel to make a Marvel collectible card game, and I still expect that I will try to get into the beta of that and try to play it over Shadowverse here, but they certainly aren't doing anything very fast there, and I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see anything happen around Moonshot Studios or Secret Door for a very long time. Frankly, due to the pandemic, I wouldn't be surprised if they just all fall flat, all three companies, because there's just no capital to cushion the potential losses there. Like, I bet investment capital starts to transform, starts to dry up. I saw the word transform. See how this works. Hellflame Dragon. Hellflame Dragon.
Ready to witness my true strength?
This is like a really good card. let's see.
Wonderful sleep.
Next we have a game on Steam here called Vacation Day Off. This looks like it's a visual novel. It looks like it might be a Chinese visual novel in the sense that there are real world photos in the background instead of background art. Seems like there's only 2 or 3 characters. It's free to play, so I guess the price is right. It's English only, so I guess I have to say it's a cheap English visual novel. Which I don't think there actually is any room to play cheap visual novels. They take too long. Next we have a game on Steam here called Star Rover, which looks like it is a high-paced action hack and slash game, but the art just doesn't look visually polished enough. It kind of looks like it's a PlayStation 1 game or something, but it probably isn't. It does kind of feel like it is all over the place when you look at the screenshots as far as what its focus is and what kind of game it is. It's $12.79 English and Thai. You know, we don't see a lot of Thai games. You can see it's described as a third-person action platforming game in Metroidvania style, where the player can play in various locations on the planet, upgrade yourself, and collect a lot of weapons to prepare for battle. Which that's basically throwing everything in the kitchen sink into the description. And yeah, I just don't know if I would particularly expect much more from Thai game developers, because I suspect there just aren't that many, and there just isn't that much experience making games from the Thai people.
Don't make me get any
But I would happily be surprised, certainly, if we did have a whole collection of Taiwanese games. Although at a certain point you're going to have to address the elephant in the room about is Thailand will get another one of the territories that's going to be acquired assumed taken over by China, because at that point it doesn't kind of matter as much. Well, I got 2 victories. That's was enough to get the missions done, and I'll take that. See, and we got 30 rupees in an upcoming card pack, which I guess does go to show we have 7 minutes left. So maybe in 7 minutes the next expansion unleashes. 7 minutes left to spend 1,000 premium currency, and I don't have that. And at the moment I don't have any card packs at all that can be used, which is interesting. So then that leaves us with needing to just do a Forcecraft ranked victory, and then we're done, which is good. All these little tutorials. Let me come over here and see what I have to do in the main story. Oh my goodness. It is gonna make me play like through everything, or can I get back now? Oh good. Because that would have been annoying. Certainly. So let's see if this the one that was marked under maintenance is still marked under maintenance, or if maybe that was a glitch. Nope, still marked under maintenance. So yeah, can't finish that, and there definitely won't be any Forcecraft things that I can do in single player mode. But now I should be able to practice if I wanted to practice. Not that I need to practice. And all my decks should be here. Do look like they are here. Yeah, most of the settings moved over. Just the tutorial stuff didn't move over. Here we have a game on Steam called Ender Lily's Quarters of Quietus of the Nights. I'm gonna put this on the fall list. It's not even got a release date yet, but I believe it is coming out in, like, I saw somebody mention a date, but then if I actually mentioned the date, I would just be wrong. So I saw someone hyping it up, and it does seem like it's a decent enough game to be hyped around. Next we have a game here called My Child Lebensborn, which looks to me like it's probably some weird, like, troll Asian game, like cheap Chinese game. Seems like this kid's maybe getting abused, since there's one screenshot of him in a closet. It seems to be Nazi, a Nazi related story, in that it's a boy in Nazi occupied Germany. This is English, German, Spain, Spanish, Norwegian, Japanese, Chinese, Portuguese, and Korean. So take your pick as far as who you think really made this game. I would say possibly Chinese, maybe even Japanese, because if there's one country out there that would be more than happy to have something with Nazi material in it, it would be the Japanese, because, well, I'm not going to get into deep details there, but they don't have that deep-seated hate for the Nazis as much as everyone else does, because they were on their side, basically, during the war, at least. Here we have a game on Steam called Twin Breaker Sacred Symbols Adventures, which seems like it is desperately trying to oversell a Arkanoid game, which, sure, there might be some co-op Arkanoid here, but nothing else I really like or want to see. I've also noticed when I, like, hover over links now, it sometimes will pop up in the bottom left when something is loading, and I want to avoid that happening. So that's some kind of Chrome setting that I need to adjust. We have the Famitsu review scores for issue 1660. Let's see. Bacon Switch is 26 out of 40. Into the Breach for Switch was given a 35 out of 40, which is a particularly high score. Konosuba for the PS4 and Switch, I won't say the whole long title, was 29 out of 40. A game called Imo Astray, A-S-T-R-A-Y, was 31 out of 40. NBA 2K21 was 31 out of 40. A game called Navae, N-A-V-A-E-H, for the Switch was 27 out of 40. Packmaster for the Switch was 26 out of 40. Super Soccer Blast Switch, 26 out of 40. Terror Rhythm for the Switch was 26 out of 40. Investor Clause 3 Dragon Slayer of the God World offline version for the PS4 was 27 out of 40. So quite the collection of bad games there. Quite the collection.
I knew this would happen.
And like the most recognizable one that they used an image for was Konosuba. So we saw a lot of games though, so somebody is sneaking out some games for review. Although I imagine most of those were digital only.
I'll show you. Just watch.
Alright, let's see if this wins.
Pale beside you. No more corpses.
Nope. It did not
You're done for.
save the day.
My beauty will so vile you are.
Next we have a game on Steam called Darklands Awakening, which looks like it's a horror game. I'm not sure I want to call it an asset flip game quite yet. It looks like it might have a little bit more visual polish than that, and it kind of feels somewhat consistent, but it doesn't have a video. It's also on sale for 5%, which is weird, and it's $18.99, English only. I'm gonna put this on the fall list, but I suspect there's no game there, or no good game there. Let's see. Gamatsu has an article here. The virtual reality visual novel Alt Deus Beyond Chronos launches December 4th. Okay.
Time for me to prove myself.
Nothing else I guess to really say there.
Between my lives.
Let's keep on burning through the news. The one thought I did have if I was to stream every day, which I really shouldn't even begin to talk out loud about the thought of streaming every day, or every weekday at least, would be that we would burn through the news so fast, and previews and streams would be just about an hour, and then I would be done with the news, and then I'd give up on any kind of daily quest, which inherently would mean we might have 15-minute live streams on some days when there's just like no news at all. There would be a major inconsistency on the length of them, in a way that I think people would probably not be happy with. Next we have a game on Steam here called Kidgelantes, which I guess are kids and vigilantes combined as words, which it's not a concept you really would want to promote. They're calling it a platformer. I don't think it really looks like a platformer. It's free. Is it a student project? It's English. It claims to have full audio. This probably is just an asset flip game, if I was to guess. But I don't even know why you would make an asset flip game if you're gonna give it away for free. Alright, I'm starting to yawn, but that's fine because I only have about 20. I have less than 20. I have maybe 10 tabs. Gamatsu has an article here. A Cotton reboot for the PS4 and Switch launches February 25th in Japan. It's a reboot of a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up game, Cotton. Probably nothing else to really say at the moment. Destroy that amulet quickly so we can focus more on dealing damage.
I embrace all manner of spell
starting to go quiet.
Quite talkative for someone without a brain.
Truth and taboo are equal.
Next, we have a Gamatsu article here. The Japanese government, Japanese YouTube creators go hands-on with the PlayStation 5 for Try PS5 on the YouTube Gaming Week, which, looking at all of these avatars, you can see quite a lot of Japanese YouTubers that I've never heard of, any of them. Of course, and why would I? And shows, while YouTube itself may be global, your actual market is going to be severely limited by your appeal and your ability to speak potentially any other languages.
You're done for.
I saw another comparison,
Stop.
like, because Microsoft does so many other things, like, I believe the market cap on Sony versus the market cap on Microsoft is like 100 to 1. So if you were just doing a battle on who has the most potential valuation of their company, Microsoft is winning hand over fist. But in all fairness, Sony has lost tons of money making movies and doing other things, and Microsoft has made tons of movies, tons of money doing other things that has nothing to do with Xbox. If you really were to separate Sony Entertainment Interactive and Xbox divisions out, the numbers probably are fairly similar. But it is something certainly to consider, that Microsoft could, if they chose to, just buy out all the competition. Next, we have a game on Steam here called Dungeons and Bombs, which seems to be a Crypto the Necrodancer game with also some Bomberman elements to it, which that might be an interesting concept for people that like both Bomberman and Crypto the Necrodancer. Although this guy in the princess outfit looks like he might be a bit of a troll character. Or this princess with a beard, however you want to describe him. I guess it's a princess with a beard. Well, it's $5.99. It's a Russian game. It has 50 achievements. It's clearly an achievement game. So that puts a different spin on things. Let's see. Do this.
Do you hear the voices of the wind?
And then do this. And then evolve.
It won't be long now. Bad people are evil. Stay away.
Do that, and
Let's
that.
play. Hey, let's play.
See, next we have a game on Steam that's just a bunch of Asian characters. So it looks like it is probably a Chinese dungeon crawler / visual novel for as much text as there is. English not supported at $1.39. Chinese simplified Chinese only. I'm starting to get a little sleepy now, but not too bad. Next we have a game on Steam, VR Historical Journey to Buddhist Civilizations, which seems to be a VR, just jumping around and looking at buildings that I can neither confirm or deny actually existed at some point, or still exist. It says $8.49, bunch of languages. If you're desperate for VR content, something like that might be a good sales point. I could also see choosing not to go down that route.
Talk to me. Hey, let's play.
Let's see. Because, yeah. They also have here a Journey to the Age of Crusaders, Medieval Jerusalem, which, if you were going to have historical basic walking simulators, why not merge both of them?
Whoa, you're strong.
You can see here there's a whole bundle of things that this developer's making, and those aren't particularly good looking VR experiences. Let's see if we've solved this. I thought I was close to the end. I might not be as close to the end as I thought. So the shop lost its sale, and it's just gone, and nothing changed it. Okay. I was winning very well with Forcecraft, and then all of a sudden I stopped winning with Forcecraft. Gamatsu has an article here. Death Come True for the PS4 is delayed. It's no longer due out for October 15th. The ad blocker I have on Gamatsu is hiding the top title, but maybe I should just do that with everything.
Time for me to prove myself.
And I'll just announce the level. Like it kind of is fairly pointless and difficult to have these Steam sections here when it would be so much easier if every tab just started at this point. Well, regardless, here we have a game called Tales of Evenfall, which says it's an RPG with turn-based combat. Yeah, and it looks like they are right that it is an RPG with turn-based combat, which immediately makes me not interested in it. It's $2.54, English only. Next we have a game on Steam called Gordian Rooms, A Curious Heritage, which seems to be an escape to room puzzle game, which I can't immediately hate these. The Giant Bombcast talked about how Myst for VR and yet another remake of Myst 1 has been announced. I'm going to put this on the follow list without even looking at the price. $4.74, bunch of languages. And pretty much, I think everybody around the table on the Giant Bombcast. So you have 4 alleged mainstream video game journalists, people that should know their stuff. None of them had played Myst to completion. Most of them hadn't even played Myst more than a few hours, hadn't made it off the first island. And that is certainly a point that just highlights how it's who you know, it's not what you know, in video game journalism, that you possibly went through your life. These are old people. Myst was the best-selling game for probably a decade and a half. The possibility that you hadn't played it all the way to completion is not something that should have occurred. Just as part of doing your job, you could have said, well, it wasn't for me, but I struggled through it. But you should have played it. You should have gotten off the first island. You should have gotten help if you had any trouble getting off the first island. Frankly, getting off the first island is not that hard anyways. They as they were talking, basically said they had no appreciation of Myst ever. Even on the technical level, if you have nothing you can say about the game itself, Myst is so groundbreaking as far as being the game that sold CD-ROMs to people, being the reason that PC gaming had CD-ROMs support, being the thing that introduced long-running background music, that introduced potentials to having live-action video and cutscenes and things like that. There's a lot of things that if Myst didn't introduce those concepts, they definitely normalized those concepts and brought them to the masses.
Unto dust I return.
And even as someone who has not even made it through playing all of the Myst series, and in all fairness, we'll say a lot of the old Myst games are not really replayable. I still 100% would be willing to play Myst again. I don't know, like, I don't know what new things they're gonna do, which they probably aren't gonna do much of anything new. Probably will just be Myst once again updated for a modern generation. And I would be happier to... How in the world did all of these key characters get put back on the field?
What's that for?
This is ridiculous.
Whoa, you're strong.
I would much prefer to play Firmament, I think, than yet another remake of Myst, but I'm willing to do both. It probably would be a fairly accelerated replaying of Myst, just looking at the graphics and comparing it. And Myst is kind of groundbreaking also in the sense that they are intentionally trying to push the graphics and the visual effects forward to make old games relevant, whereas a lot of other games have just kind of abandoned it. Like the remakes, for instance, of Tomb Raider 1 are kind of a great example of that, where there's not been enough efforts to make yet another remake for Tomb Raider 1 or the original series of Tomb Raider while they were releasing the reboot series. And now that their reboot series is pretty much done, they probably are fairly listless and just have no path or idea as far as what they're going to do with Lara Croft as a character. Anyways, we need to finish up the news. We have a Open Critic article. Naughty Dog is renaming Outbreak Day. This is kind of ridiculous. September 26th was known as Outbreak Day to the developer of Naughty Dog, but in the current climate they want to rename it something else, which, like, maybe you should have just not put out a press release if that was what you were going to do, because you've literally just brought attention to the thing that you didn't want to bring attention to. Apparently YouTube's Twitter account tweeted or posted a thing with Dr. Anthony Fauci and Susan Wojcicki. Thanked him for being on that interview, which, yeah, that's definitely getting political for Susan Wojcicki, which is not going to do anything to really help any perceived bias around and in the world of YouTube. And frankly,
just maybe this magic will help.
I think Anthony Fauci could be doing some better things with his time than interviewing with YouTube people.
Hey, let's play. Stay away. They're picking on me. Hey, let's play.
this guy? I guess I might as well.
Couldn't do it after all.
Here we have a Gamma Sutra article. ZeniMax Media won't be the last of Microsoft's game dev acquisitions,
I'm nothing special,
according to
but I'll try.
Gamma Sutra. And yeah, I'm just gonna start blocking everything. If it's not the main article on the page, it's gonna get blocked. And then that's gonna leave a very nice single page section. And then I will just tell you if we're looking at a Gamma Sutra article or a TechRaptor article or something else. There, I need to play. I'm getting distracted.
You're done for. I'm so sparkle. Yeah.
Hit that. And hit that. The exact quote here is, "We will always look to grow inorganically when it makes sense," which inorganically I guess might be the right word, but also I'm not sure that's the phrase you want to use.
I embrace all manner of spellcraft. Truth and taboo are equal in my eyes.
Ow!
Yeah, there is even an argument, I suppose, to
Let's play.
intentionally blocking things that are below the actual article, any below the fold or below the article ads, because that just cleans everything up very nicely. Here we have a job listing. Airship Syndicate is looking for a design scripter in Austin, Texas. Let's see, yeah, if I just blocked all of these bottom parts and the articles just ended right here, that would be so much better. Just so I'm gonna leave that though. I'm gonna just leave this work for a while. CNET has an article here, how Microsoft CEO, Xbox heads say they won't screw up Bethesda. I'm kind of thinking that I would like to see them make some changes to Bethesda in a lot of ways. Like, screwing it up is not the phrase I would use, but there is some changes I think that could definitely be made to make ZeniMax less litigious more than anything else. CNET is also in that weird position where it has just been acquired, and along with a giant bomb apparently. Gamma Sutra has an article here. Epic Games says Fortnite is doing fine actually. Apparently there was reports of their decline. I imagine they are going to try really hard to say that they're doing fine after being removed from both the Apple Store and the Google Play Store. But yeah, I don't think Epic is a public company, so I don't think we'll ever get the numbers, and I think there would be fairly easy ways to fudge those numbers anyways. this to destroy this. I think my new computer does seem to spin up its fans every now and then, but I feel like the fans are way quieter, and my new computer is not even behind my sound barrier, and frankly it could be my old computer making all the noise. So I feel like we're, as far as noise on my new computer, it's great. Activision support put out this big block of text that I'm not even going to try to read. It says, if you think you're at risk, check out these helpful step-to-step guides to safeguard your account. There was rumors that Activision had been hacked. I think Activision is trying to not say that it's been hacked, but it probably has been. BlizzCon online dates have been announced for February 2021. There is also a question about what happens at QuakeCon now that Microsoft owns ZeniMax. QuakeCons have been kind of a weird experience anyways in the past few years.
To the ends of the earth.
Let's do that.
May the forest be at peace.
And all of this.
Here. Fairies, don't push your help me,
Do
fairy.
that.
The power of nature.
That.
The power of nature.
Might win here, but there's still a decent chance I'm not gonna win. Yeah, we have a game on Steam called Freedom Fighters, which is rated very positively, and it does look like it is possibly a more polished experience than just an asset flip. It says it's a third-person shooter. It might be an old game since it's labeled 2003. And it's English only, so there might be something that people have some familiarity with this game. I don't recall a game called Freedom Fighters though. It's from IO Interactive AS. So, yeah. That.
This bears further
This.
study.
And this.
Let's play.
Let's see. I think we already talked about this, but there's a report that Riot Games and Epic Games have come under US government scrutiny over their Tencent ties, which that seems reasonable that would happen in the current climate. Here we have a game on Steam called The Long Gate, which says it's a walking sim puzzle game, and it looks interesting. It has a weapon that looks a lot like the cube placing weapon in a different game. I wonder if this is from the same developer. It was like, there's a game, I don't think it was called Hypercube. This is $17.99, and it's being compared to some other puzzle games, but not the one I'm thinking of, probably because I already own that game. Let's see if David Shaw worked on anything else, or if this person, this publisher, worked on anything else. Well, that kind of has me hyped. Like, this looks like an actual puzzle game. Of course, unfortunately, I constantly run into the problem of getting hyped on puzzle games and then finding out that they are not that good.
Why are you here?
Let's see.
Hey, let's play.
But yeah, I hope The Long Gate is good. Let's see. Let's see. Gamatsu has an article here. A police investigation documents organization game called Legal Dungeon is coming to Switch in early 2021. Which that sounds interesting. Apparently it's already on Steam.
What are you doing here? You called, my lord?
It's mostly positive. Let's see what it looks like. It looks like it's very, very text-based. Yeah, I don't think I could play a game that's that text-based. Legal Dungeon. Alright, we can rush.
Leave this to me, fairy
For
friends.
6. We can do this.
I'll take care
We
of
can
them.
kill that.
No
And
way!
then we can do that. We can do that.
I'll be taking my leave now.
Then end the turn. But I didn't play enough to do 2 damage. The interactive novel game Replica is coming to Switch this fall, according to Gamatsu. Which Replica feels like another lost phone, but I bet there was probably a game called Replica 2 also. Let's see. Here we have a young maiden otome visual novel called My Vow to My Liege. Let's see. Yep. It definitely seems like it's being drawn with the teenage girl perspective. $8.99, English and Chinese. Okay. Fairies in your hand until you can't have any more. Given the ability to evolve.
Hey, let's play! This evergreen sword will cut through their ranks!
I don't know why I did that. If I'd given this one the ability to evolve, I would have won at that point.
That's strange.
There we go. So I'm got him down to 1, but all he has to do is 2 damage, so if he drew any card,
Oh, come on!
now he just has to do 1 damage.
Alright, time for class.
Yeah, I don't have any reason though to play an otome game, particularly a Chinese one. Although, in all fairness, I think it is worth mentioning that this does look very nicely animated for a Chinese visual novel, and it doesn't feel like it's just overlapped with a ridiculous amount of text.
I'll teach you all I know.
See, next we have a game on Steam here called Shrine 2. Either I'm gonna win or I'm gonna lose. And this looks like it's a attempt at a first-person shooter Doom clone, and it might be very good, it might be very bad, but I'm not willing to go down that route. It's free, so the price is right. English only. Let's see. I'm going to kill this, and then hit this, and then just take victory. Next we have a game on Steam called Anonymesis, which looks like it is a card battler with dungeon crawling elements too. It doesn't look like it has enough variety specifically in the cards node to be something you'd want to play for long term. Early access for $14.99, single player only. I've seen some cell phone games similar to this. I don't think there's anything attractive enough for this that would catch my eye.
I did it!
We got a victory, which means we got all the daily quests done. Yay. and at some point we're kind of waiting until the new expansion, but then we need to come over here and use these tickets to do an open 6, but doing that before the expansion would be a mistake. And I imagine if stage 2 is 2 more days, then there's more time for the stage 3 on that tournament. So that might leave us right at the first of the month for the new expansion to come out, and that would sort of make sense. See, Komatsu has a Ni no Kuni Crossworlds animated teaser trailer, A Tale of Two Worlds. See, this is a MMORPG for iOS and Android that's coming out in Japan in 2020, which they are definitely trying to expand the Ni no Kuni brand, which is not a bad idea. I guess Ni no Kuni would be the most recent JRPG to see success. They also announced like Final Fantasy 16, but I would say there's pretty much less success in Final Fantasy these days. Here we have a game on Steam called Arc Wizards, which looks like a pretty low effort shooter, side scroll shooter for lack of a better term. $3.99. And they also have Arc Wizards 2 out at the exact same time. So clearly you have somebody here that's just trying to flood Steam, and you can see they've kind of been able to do it, getting 10 games listed, 10 or so games. I didn't actually count. Next we have a game on Steam here called Nightmare Puppeteer, which looks like a joke game. Wonder if Microsoft has a copyright over the image of Windows XP. Probably. This is $39.99, ridiculously expensive. Whole bunch of achievements. This would be ridiculous. Again, that's the kind of game that it would only take a half of a second of a look to say, hey, let's investigate this game more and make sure there's actually something here we want to sell on Steam. Next we have a game on Steam here called Wonderblade, which looks like it is a almost direct ripoff of Castle Crashers, to the point where I even see sections that look exactly like Castle Crashers and animations that look exactly like Castle Crashers. So I kind of suspect there might be some stolen elements from Castle Crashers, although I think this is fairly unique. It's early access for $6.99 and it's English and Chinese. Yeah, and like sliding down the hill, not a bad idea. And if you were just copying Castle Crashers, I'd be fine with it. The problem is there's like actual animation and just direct images being shown that seem to have been ripped off. Although a lot of these images do look new. I'd almost give it a chance, this game, if it had just done a little bit more effort to hide the fact that it was a ripoff of Castle Crashers. The Steam blog came out a while ago, and this doesn't want to display right. Let's see if we can get it to work that way. They're introducing a new tier of community awards, new point shop features and items available for Steam. You can now use your Steam points by shopping on the Steam to get the latest awards. Treasure recipient gets 200 points. Mad Scientist for user-generated content recipient gets 100 points. Mind Blown recipient gets 400 points, and Gold Unicorn recipient gets 800 points. So there's these 4 things that you can get. Then they turn those into Steam points that can be used at the Steam Point shop, which I haven't looked at since they introduced that. I'm not sure. And the Steam Point shop represents a new way to get trading card items such as emoticons, profiles, and backgrounds, because clearly they're going to abandon the old way of doing that. And they have some very specific games items here they're promoting, which it does feel like they might also wind down through the Steam Point shop what actually gets to have stickers and backgrounds instead of just random people making stickers and backgrounds. And clicking on the Steam Point shop did not take me to the Steam Point shop. It instead took me to the main page of Steam. Okay. Let's try that again. Nope. It did the exact same thing the second time. Let's see. Wonder if I need to turn down the audio. I'll check that on the video after today's stream. Next we have a game on Steam here called Tranquil Garden. This was, I believe, an RPG game with a gardening element to it that almost looked interesting, but also it's just too weird. Frankly, it's a little bit too weird, and it's still RPG elements that look low effort. It's free, and if it were a student project, I might consider it, but it isn't. So no to Tranquil Garden. I think we already talked about this article too. Some of these tabs may have just been left over when I migrated over from my old computer to my new computer. Remedy is hiring a development director in Espoo, Finland. And then that would bring me to the Humble Bundle. We'll see if there's any new Humble Bundle. There's probably a ton of websites I'm not logged into. A ton of websites specifically that I was logged into, but then they said, no, we recognize this as a new computer, so you have to put in a password again, and I just didn't bother. See if there's any new Humble Bundles. There's a Tropico bundle. Let's see. Tropico Reloaded. I think we already talked about that one, though. So I think that probably means there is no new game bundle. Super Simulation bundle. That might be new. Let's see. No, that's not new either. $15 for PC Building Simulation. Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's any new game bundles, which then that would bring me back to my Twitter feed. And yeah, I've got to get the resolution better, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to scroll through things. Things are just so big at the moment. There was an article at some point we were going to talk about this, and I missed that article somehow, about how Amnesia: The Dark Descent and the sequel are now open source, which that seems like a drastic direction to go, certainly, but it seems like that's what they did. Baldur's Gate 3 Early Access has been delayed to October 6th. A FTL-like co-op roguelike called Trigon Space Story has been announced, which, okay. Hopefully it's not as difficult as FTL. Let's see, TechRaptor has an article. Ghost Runner takes Cyberpunk to new heights. So we'll talk we'll talk about a lot of this, I think, on Friday. There's a lot of praise for Hades on Giant Bomb, which, I don't know, like, it does seem like Hades as a game was a lot better than it could have been, although it does seem like also they didn't bother to advertise it correctly by giving it a exclusivity deal to the Epic Store and then not really promoting it when it was outside of the Epic Store. Yeah. So yeah, here's the TechRaptor article. Amnesia: The Dark Descent and sequel are now open source. Great. Maybe somebody would polish it up and make it run and look better. Although, I'm not sure. Here's that other article. Ghost Runner takes Cyberpunk to new heights, which this is probably just a advertisement for a game that's not coming out yet. Let's see. Just scroll down to the bottom. Players can get their hands on Ghost Runner as soon as it launches on October 27th. So yeah, it's not out yet. And then there's another TechRaptor article. Aquanox Deep Descent is a bit wet, which this probably means this is a review for a game. So yeah, they're just hyping up a game. They don't have an actual review score. And then Gamatsu has Crown Trick for the Switch and PC, launches October 16th, which I'm not sure what Crown Trick is. Looks nicely animated, but this very well may just be a cutscene, and doesn't seem like it's really explaining how the game actually plays. It says, fight how you want, engaging strategic gameplay, learn from enemies, different dungeons every time. So it's some kind of dungeon crawler. Okay, well, that looks like that is that, and we've been going for just shy of 2.5 hours, which these streams nowadays do seem like they are nicely settling into that. If I wasn't going to play the Lego game, I might try to do some more cleanup on the solo mode of Shadowverse, but there's a decent chance I will just never get the solo mode done before I quit playing Shadowverse, because that just takes extra time and there's no actual reward for it. Doesn't seem like anybody got on the chat. At least I didn't see anything on the chat if there was. Looking at the recording and the number of frames dropped and recorded, that seems to have been fine. Seems like we had no network problems, so it seems like everything worked perfectly well. That's going to be it for this stream. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.